What's going on, guys? Welcome back to High Top Sports Oregon. The Ducks are on the move once again, landing themselves a big time commit wide receiver, but I'm not going to tell you about it. We're going to go over to our Duck insider and Derek the Duck Zelmer to talk about the big pickup here. And as Isaiah Moore, no, was it Isaiah
Isaiah Mosby.
Mosey? Great last name, adding to what I would call an elite wide receiver room in general. But this recruiting class, you guys kind of get the pick of the litter, it seems like, when it comes to wide receivers lately.
Yeah, man, it's a pretty good problem to have. Like I said, we were just talking a little bit before the show. I know the fans are starting to get a little antsy for a commitment when we lost the commitment of one of ours a couple weeks ago, and then obviously got secured the commitment of Cooper Perry last week, and now Isaiah Mosey this week. So yeah, lots of wide receivers walking into this year's class, which is a wonderful problem to have. Now it's all about holding on to them until signing day.
We did a little what we thought this class would look like, and I think we had about 4 or 5 wide receivers. You did at least, I
hmm
think, projected for this class. Do you recall that?
Yep, I think we are sitting in that 4 to 5 range somewhere.
Good stuff, man. Let's talk about Mr. Isaiah Mosey and what he brings to the Oregon Ducks, and we'll take a look at his film while you're talking as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So Isaiah, this is a guy who Coach Lanning and Coach Stein have been after for a couple months now. He's someone whose recruitment has really bolstered up over the last couple months, taken multiple visits to spots like Oklahoma, Tennessee, Missouri was a big one. Obviously, just being the in-state kid there from Lee Summit, but he's 6'1", 185. So he's a guy who has a little bit of flexibility in how he plays his game. Able to make plays on both the outside and in the slot. And then, if we're taking a look at the huddle, eventually you're going to see where he's starting to take a few snaps in the backfield as well. So it's a guy who is very comfortable having the ball in his hands, kind of being the focal point of his offense. And then truly the one thing that really sticks out to me when I was kind of just watching his film for the first time, like the speed's wonderful. Excellent track speed guy, runs track really well in the state of Missouri currently. But the thing that really sticks out is the fact that the first tackle rarely brings this guy down. So what we're going to see constantly over and over again is you're seeing constant arm tackles that he's running through. You'll see him in the middle of 3, 4 defenders, and all of a sudden somehow he kind of scoots away from it. So it's just the way he moves with the ball is very encouraging, especially only being a junior in high school from the film that we're seeing. But as I mentioned, he's very quick. One thing he's got for him, he's got a pretty polished route tree already, which, is something that elite caliber receivers out of high school have to have pretty polished. And I say he kind of fits the mold of exactly that. And then really quick off the ball as well. So, from the time we're seeing the snap taken, the cuts are extremely fluid, extremely quick. It's upfield very well. And he's not just that, kind of prototypical deep ball threat that you get with, the speedster of your team. We're not seeing a lot of just go routes where we're feeding him 35, 40 yards down the field. He truly is a guy who has that route tree from everything from those go routes to the short crossers to we've seen multiple screen game touchdowns already to this point. And then as I mentioned, like we see, it's going to be the next play here, but he's going to be in the backfield. So he really does have a lot of maneuverability that he goes after. And that's something that we know Coach Lanning is very keen on, is going after these guys who can play multiple positions and make an impact in a variety of ways in the game. Um, but yeah,
This
he's definitely a guy I'm excited to get our hands on.
and this is going to be your third wide receiver of the class, like you were just talking about Cooper Perry last week. Dallas Wilson, big time target. Dallas Wilson's being chopped though. He says Oregon's still his top dog, but a lot of schools are after Mr. Dallas Wilson right now. Top tier talent, 6'3" guy, 180 out of Florida. Those Florida teams, one of those, one of those
Yeah,
teams.
tell your Gators back off a little
Yeah.
bit. I see, that they've been making their move at it. Scrubby Mario Cristobal down south, him too. He can keep his hands off. So I know what I was just reading about that is they were talking about how he's committed to the Ducks, but they're truly trying to treat it as it's a situation where he's uncommitted, and they're trying to continue to foster that relationship just because they know these upper echelon programs, they're coming after that boy.
Look, you respect that. You should, and that's Dan Lanning. I think we've talked about his ability to recruit. He can hold some guys off. This is your total class in general right now as we speak. Top 20 overall. Overall health is about a 92. We were just talking, it's been a little slow, but we've got some big time visits coming this week, and you got a spring game April 27th. We really expect things to pick up come that May, June. Some more visits start flowing in. I think we'll see a slow trickle here as we flow into the summer months here.
Yeah, I think so too. Like, as you mentioned, spring game coming up. We got a lot of visitors there this weekend. Like I said before, I think there's 5 top 100 guys who are going to be on campus. So it's just the caliber of guys that we're constantly bringing in is, it's encouraging. Something that I know Duck fans want to see is, is getting some of these defensive recruits starting to commit. I know, especially in the offseason, it's tough when you're just sitting here, recruit watching all these visits take place and not much is really budging. But I would say we are in a very similar position now with this class as to where we were last year at the 24 class at this time, which, as we all know, was set a school record for, the highest ranked class. I think they finished number 3 this year. So I still remain pretty encouraged. And I know some of the guys that Oregon is still in on, like the Decorian Moores of the world, there's might be commitments to other school, but it's a long recruitment cycle. So I would say that what we have here on paper is a great start. Guys like Cooper Perry, even Isaiah Mosby, I would say they're a little bit underrated. I think Mosey's going to see a spike in his rating come this fall, especially because he is pretty active at some of these camps that, as we all know, have a heavy impact in how they get ranked. But I think we see that. And then Matthew Johnson, that's one who he has absolutely skyrocketed up boards over the last couple months, even since his Duck commitment. So, I think a couple of these guys are going to start to push themselves up a little bit more. But yeah, this is just the very surface level of what this Oregon class is going to look like.
Looking at the Big Ten, how you guys stack up against that because you are in the Big Ten now. Ohio State leads the Big Ten and the entire college football landscape at the moment with 13 commits with a average rating of 94.7. Ahead of you, you got USC. USC's been cooking though. USC has been dropping the bag. They've got 12 commits out of nowhere from the clouds. They've been just dropping them. So how much of those stick? There's a lot of people that are wondering. Like there's some weird ones on there that just don't make sense and how they happen and how quickly they happen. Then you got Penn State. They've got 12 commits, all 3 stars. You don't have to worry about them. They've peaked. That's their max. So no need to worry. Then Wisconsin's ahead of you at 8, but again, they're average. They have 6 3-stars. So really, your biggest threats right now, and if you're looking at your surrounding area, got Ohio State, which they always recruit well. That's always going to be a factor. And USC, I think they should recruit better than they have in the past. It looks like they're on the trend that they should be and should always have been on. Will it hold? A lot of people don't feel that way, but we'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. That Ohio State one, if I were to guess right now, I think they're going to end the year being the top ranked class in all of college football. It's just
Whoa,
the guys,
bold
yeah, just
statement.
the guys they've already,
Okay,
yeah, it's
okay.
just the guys they've had in already. Some of the guys that they're in on, guys who are committed to other places who are, Ohio State can't stay out of their mouths. So, that's going to be my very early projection sitting here, 9 months prior to, but I think when it all said and done, Ohio State has a very real possibility in which they could end, being the number 1 class overall. Long lot to be seen there yet. In terms of USC too, yeah, that's one where just over the last 3 weeks in particular, it seems like every time I open up my Twitter, I'm seeing a Hayes Fawcett tweet coming out with another guy committed to SC. So as disgusting as I think that is, they are recruiting well, as they should. They are a blue chip university, but I think some of those guys, their commitment might not be as solid as some people had hoped, but we can only do with what we have, and where we are right now, USC is sitting in a very solid spot too.
Now I'm going through this really quickly because I'm not saying your Ohio State prediction's crazy, but we have had an SEC team going all the way back to 2017. I'm going to 2016 here. That has been the number 1 spot. Now it's been passed around between Bama, A&M, and Georgia. That's been your 3 that have passed this buck around. Ohio State's always been sniffing the buck, pun intended. Yeah, go back to 2015. Still, SEC has dominated in the overall class. 2014. My goodness, I didn't realize. I thought for sure Ohio State was going to be up there. So a very bold claim, given the fact that it's been the SEC going back all the way to 2013. Ohio State finished second, very close, but my goodness, that is a bold statement. Now Alabama, I don't think is going to recruit the same way they did, so that might have taken that the wind out of those sails. Georgia seems to be at a slow start, but it's Georgia. Always got to keep them in it. But look, I don't think you're wrong. An average rating of 94 in Ohio State seems to have figured out their NIL situation. So that'll be a fun one to come back and see. You know how I hold these takes. Cody has yet to live down his Chiefs take, but this wasn't as bad as the Chiefs take. I don't think this is as an egregious take, but I like it. I like it.
No, with respect to the prof, I think this pick is a little more safe than the nonsense he was spewing early on in the NFL season. So I feel pretty good about this one compared to that.
Just for everybody who was wondering, Cody, the professor, said that the Chiefs were going to be absolutely atrocious after week one. After the loss to the Lions, he said the Chiefs were done. And I said, I wouldn't go that far. And clearly, we know how the season worked out for the Chiefs. They won the Super Bowl. So he was way off on that one. So his take, you got to think like there's no way they're going to win the Super Bowl. His odds on that take are much greater to be successful than you saying Ohio State's going to be number one. Like you're picking the winner. So like think about that, right? Like how the odds of it probably was like +1 to whatever for those odds to
Mhm.
happen, and he was way off. I love
Yeah,
it.
I wouldn't be mad if I was wrong in this situation. It's just,
True.
man, it's the train that they've been building up and the momentum that this class has in particular, man, it's some scary stuff. So, I'm not necessarily enjoying seeing it, but I got to respect it at the same time. And I don't see him slowing down anytime soon.
I love it. Well, Derek the Duck Zelmer, appreciate you as always, man, coming in and bringing that insight. I know the Duck fans are gonna be stoked to hear about this new addition to that team. And again, make sure you guys subscribe, turn the bell on because when these happen, we drop them very quickly, letting you guys know about these updates. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Until next time, I'm Sheldon. That's Derek. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace and love, baby.